Respect is one of those key principles that if it doesn't exist within your relationship, all the fruits of other principles, you cannot enjoy them. Things like honesty, trust, good communication, love, all these things, they depend on your emotional bank account that you've created with the person you're with. Now, emotional bank account is something we talked about. And you cannot fulfill its true potential of emotional bank account without first creating a safe environment where communication between the two of you, hard, easy, can happen without having a lot of boundaries and walls put up between you. Now, this is a process that takes a while. And the more you are able to build your emotional bank account with someone, the more likely that your relationship is going to not only be healthy, but smooth. But respect is an incredible tool in accomplishing that. And it varies between genders. And actually, there is some differences between people to people. This is why the idea of taking an interest in the other person, treating the other person as they would like to be treated, right? Understanding what that looks like. What does respect look like to them, and what is disrespect? And doing your best to follow those day to day, moment to moment. One of the examples, for example, for me was I did not appreciate a woman raising her voice at me. Simply because my mind automatically goes to like, are you trying to threaten me? Are you trying to impose your will on me? You're a female, right? There's nothing about you that puts a fear in my heart. And for a lot of men, they become dismissive. They become defensive. And the idea of imposing your values into someone else, it never works anyway. You might get some sort of short-term compliance, but their hearts and minds are not with you. If anything, you're only making things worse. So once you understand, like, so once my wife understood that, her tone of voice with me, no matter what the situation, is always the same, is always consistent. Because she understands that's where I'm going to be most receptive and willing to listen. And it makes sense within the confines of a relationship. It makes sense with her being a woman and feminine. It's very congruent. And for my wife, I had to learn that she really cared a lot about not feeling embarrassed, especially in public. Protecting our honor. That is the version of respect that she saw. That's a good example of what she deemed to be respectful. That's simply just taking the time to understand the other individual in a deeper level. And one of the worst things about these principles is when they're not applied. You've not taken the time to really write them down, understand them exactly how it looks like as you're interacting with someone. Because those are interactions with the person you're with. Those are the ones that matter. It's the small things. It's not the big anniversary. It's not the big gifts, right? It's not the things that you do for each other once a year. Those things don't matter as much as the day to day. And for me, I've gotten sort of a new renewal for these principles because I'm having a child. And one thing for sure that I've come to realize is that children tend to copy what you do, not necessarily what you say. So my thought process the way I view the world, I'm trying to think, if my son were in the same situation, how would I want him to handle this situation? And because I know thoughts become your actions, actions become your habit, habit becomes your character, character becomes your destiny. And I've actually started to experience that in my life already in profound ways, just by changing my thought process, just making sure that I focus on the things that are actually beneficial to me and discarding all the ones that are not. I know that he's going to be able to copy those characteristics that I'm going to be exuding. Those things that come from my mind, the thoughts that I have, they are going to be expressed through my character. And that pushes me to be better. It makes it more real. So for you as well, as you are entering into this relationship, what characteristics do you think are important in that relationship? When you picture in your mind the best moments or the things you wish for, the interactions you have in your relationships, what do they look like? Now hold that picture in and understand that doesn't come by itself. It's not luck. You're not going to find somebody who's just going to understand you. It takes effort to get there. It takes moment to moment. It takes changing your mind and your thought process about relationship, about what's important in relationship, about what's priority. And then everything else will follow. But if you're going in just blind, hoping for things to work out, you're not taking any sort of responsibility of your share of the burden of that relationship. Doing the right things to see exactly or to get exactly what you see is not going to happen. And actually, I'm starting to really believe in systems. There are just things in this world that are in systems. Doesn't matter how much you want to fight against that, how much you don't believe it, it's still true. There's certain things that can only be acquired through following step-by-step procedures. There's no other way. Right? And when it comes to interpersonal relationship with the person that you care most for, if your wish is to have this beautiful relationship, the majority of the outcome depends on your attitude and your thought process and the wisdom that you're going to have to be able to live with that person.